Hello, howdy, hi everybody. Welcome to the Hop Nerd live stream. Welcome back. Once again, thank you for joining us. I'm Sam Goodman. You know who I am. Hopefully you know who I am at this point. We've been hanging out. We've been having all kinds of fun. We've been doing all that kind of cool stuff as we have been dealing with this whole COVID-19 apocalypse thing. Again, you know who I am. I'm Sam Goodman. I'm the Hop Nerd. I do all this kind of sort of fun stuff. That's what I do. If you're new to us and you want to know more, please head over to www.thehopnerd.com. Follow along on all things social media at The Hop Nerd. That's a super duper easy way to find out what I'm up to, find out how bored I am locked in the house, all that kind of sort of stuff. It's a really, really easy way to find out what's going on in my life. You can send me an email, sam@thehopnerd.com or thehopnerd@gmail.com. Those are also easy, super handy, dandy ways to get a hold of me. If you do head over to the website, there's a bot there. You can talk to that. That comes to me eventually. You can do all of that kind of sort of stuff if you want to have that conversation. Again, we've been doing this live stream thing for God, I don't know how long now. A long time. We've been doing this for quite a while. 10, 12, 13, 14 days. I don't know how many days we've strung together now, but it's been a few, and it's been fun, and I've loved it. I've loved it. I've loved it. I've got to have more of it. That's why we keep doing this. Again, I think it's super good just because we've been scrolled away. We've been away from people. We've not had contact with people, and this is just a really good way to be able to have some contact, be able to have some conversation, to have some sense of normalcy in our lives. This is a really, really easy way to do that. And we can rant and we can vent and we can talk and we can do whatever we want to. This is your show. Shoot us a text, 480-877-0155. That is a really easy way to really steer the subject here. You can talk about whatever you want to, or have me talk about it, or send your input, whatever, right? We'll talk about whatever. Shoot me an article, shoot me a picture, whatever you want to talk about, we can do that. Or you can call us and we can try out this handy dandy call me number, 480-712-5219. Those numbers are listed right down here. So we'll see what happens. I look forward to starting that conversation. How are things going in your neck of the woods? I can tell you that things are they're going pretty good here, right? I keep sharing that, and I don't mean to sound weird when I say that, but things seem pretty normal, honestly. I mean, for the most part, things seem pretty normal here in Phoenix, other than the fact that there's no traffic, right? I keep saying that, but things seem relatively normal. Grocery stores have seemed somewhat more normal as of late. Most things seem more normal as of late, other than the fact that everything seems to be shut down, which kind of sort of stinks, right? If you want to go back, if you haven't listened to it, if you want to listen to it, you can go back and listen to my long rant yesterday about a lot of stuff that I'm frustrated with. That's what most of yesterday turned into was a rant sesh, and that's good. That's good. I enjoyed it. Well, that's kind of the whole point. I enjoyed it. But yeah, it was ranting a lot about that, that we're going to continue to shut down the economy and for what maybe sort of outcome. I mean, not to get too far back in to that rant, but let's just compare this from where we're at if we were an organization. If individually we were businesses, we'd be demanding a hell of a lot more information about what's going on out there, other than just saying, well, we don't really know what the projections are telling us. Maybe things will be done by June. Maybe your business will survive. Maybe this is bad. Maybe it's not. We don't really know. The government's full of shit is really what I can tell you, because that's mostly what we're seeing right now, right? Is that, well, I don't know. The projections might say this. They might say that. We don't really know how things are going to go. We think next week's going to be worse, but who knows? It might be better. There's light at the end of the tunnel. And it's one side of the mouth, right? One message this way, one message that way. And who knows? Right, so we're making a gamble on kind of sort of maybes, and the gamble is that a lot of businesses are going to probably end up shutting down because of this. So I don't know. I don't know where I stand on where we're at and where we're going. Again, I think a lot of the general precautions are probably pretty sound, pretty good, but continuing to lock ourselves in the house, I don't know. I don't know how good that's going to do for business in the long run when we're looking at an illness that has a mortality rate of what? Go Google it for yourself, right? Please go take a look at it for yourself, and let me know what your thoughts are. I would be really interested in what's worse. I mean, just to be honest with you, what's worse? Again, if you want to go listen to some of my rant yesterday, you can. I've stayed pretty frustrated over the past couple of days with it. I just think that we need to demand better information. We need to demand better information and just stop going, well, the government says it's best for us to lock ourselves in the house and shut down business and kill the economy. They said that's what's for the best. Screw that, and we need to demand a higher standard of information. We just do, period, before we continue to make decisions and say, well, we might just not do anything for the rest of the year. We'll just not have business for the rest of the year. Don't worry, we'll send you $1,200. It'll be fine. Right? So, again, I think we need to demand a higher standard out of those who lead our country instead just, again, demand something more. But that's me piggybacking on my rant from yesterday. How are things going for you? I'm always interested. Give me a call, 480-712-5219. I always look forward to having that conversation with you. We've got a little visitor sneaking in the screen here, as you can see. You want to say hi again to everybody? Say hi. She's back. She's hanging out. We're having fun. We're here in the lovely and the beautiful downtown Phoenix, Arizona. It is 6:31 p.m. local time. What time is it for you? Who knows? I don't know where you're watching from. I get a lot of folks from back east, so I think you're 3 hours ahead right now. If you are in California, I don't know what California time is. I don't know if it's the same or if it's – I think it's the same right now. I don't know. I don't really care. I'm sorry. I told you, I don't really look. The hardest part of my days, I'll be honest with you, the hardest part of most of my days is dealing with this one thing, right? This one thing. And it's trying to schedule meetings across different time zones. It is not fun, right? So let's rant about something that's not nearly as big of a deal, but it is not fun at all trying to schedule meetings across international time zones. I'm trying to get some stuff, and I don't want to give it away, but there's some amazing, awesome, super cool folks that are going to be on the podcast coming up, and we're just trying to get some time worked out. Unfortunately, most of us have a lot of time. Right, that's one real big benefit to being locked in the house is that most of us have quite a bit of time right now. But trying to coordinate between, like this afternoon, I was trying to set up some stuff between Arizona time, which is wacky and weird in ways because we don't have daylight saving time, and then it's kind of, it's Arizona, and between Australian Eastern Standard Time, which gets even wackier, right? And I was the dumb redneck that didn't realize that there's multiple time zones in Australia. And all of those things, right? I forget how huge it is. It's massive. But yeah, I've got a lot of folks that I talked to down there. The amazing Josh Bryant that I'm always talking about, just because I can't wait to get Josh back on the show. He's just such a wealth of information. But we did that same thing because I didn't realize that there was multiple time zones. And then Josh connected me with some other people, and then just through kind of being out there and talking with folks, we've got a lot of friends, a lot of contacts over there. A lot of folks that are coming on the show from over there. So I'm constantly trying to coordinate times between there, sometimes in the UK, sometimes here and there and everywhere, right? Sometimes down in South America. It's just weird trying to get all these different time zones lined out and getting things scheduled to where it's reasonable times for all that are involved. Right? I don't want to be an asshole and just be like, no, you're going to do it when I say, right? If anything, I'll sacrifice a little bit more and be like, okay, I'll do it at midnight my time if that's good for you, right? So it's just wild and wacky. Hashtag apocalypse problems, right? Hashtag stuck in the house trying to do things over Zoom problems. I would much rather go travel to Australia. Just saying. If anybody wants to invite me over when this thing clears, I'd much rather travel than Zoom. Anyways, again, give us a call. We're going to dive in for a little bit. We got some coffee. We got a backup monster here. We got all kinds of stuff going on. And we're going to keep this thing going for just a little while. You can text us to 480-877-0155. You can always give us a call, 480-712-5219. I'm watching the comments across most of the feeds right now. If this thing is working, sometimes it's not. Sometimes after the fact, I look on my phone, I'm like, oh, shit, there was like 12 comments, and none of them showed up on this because I guess we can throw some more hashtags, hashtag shitty Mac problems. But There you go. Right. So I'm watching them as best as I can. If you want to jump in, leave us a comment, want to start a conversation about something, we'll gladly do that. We'll gladly have that conversation. Feel free to give us a call. Feel free to jump into the DMs. Feel free to give us a text. Text is a really easy way to get a hold of us as well. So I've got this pulled up. Let me make sure I'm not lying to you, and just make sure that I have it pulled up here. One thing that I will say. One thing that I have found to be absolutely hilarious as I continue to have a lot of this conversation, folks send me the funniest stuff, right? I got one from a near and dear friend, Billy Allison, not too long ago that basically shows a lady on a moped or on a scooter with one of those, that orange sponge that you get, at the grocery store or Walmart. That's got like the Brillo pad type thing on one side, the green rough side and the yellow side. She got it like strapped around her face as a respirator. Gee, thanks White House for your awesome recommendations, because that's the kind of shit you're going to continue to see. Yeah, so there gives away my fills. But it's hilarious if you get that one. Again, the respirator fail pictures are kind of the bomb. I've got one of those, and then I got another one basically showing a guy. And this is something I've been ranting about for a while, talking about these idiots in their gloves, right? Their false sense of security, their mask that is their security blanket that's just strapped around their face, or their security blanket now that they get to wear on their hands, right? And I can't think of the guy's name, but there's a really funny video. Basically, it's a firefighter, and he's put out a couple of these funny videos dealing with like respirators and masks and gloves and the misuse of PPE, and they're just hilarious. I'm sure if you go just Google something around that phrase, you'll find him. I apologize, I didn't know I was going to talk about this, or I'd have pulled up his info. Not like he needs my plug or anything. I'm sure he's killing it out there with the content he's putting out. But he's basically showing like the same kind of thing with like the gloves and people like touching everything and then like licking stuff and then like eating with them and like picking their nose with their gloves on and then touching everything and all the kind of stuff that we've been talking about. But the funny thing is that that Jonathan Croft actually sent us a picture of a guy. It shows a picture of a guy standing in line. It looks to be at I don't think it's a Walmart. No, it's not a Walmart. I can't tell what grocery store it is. But he's standing in line with his buggy full of stuff, and he's got like a bag of Frito-Lays, which Frito-Lays are good, right? Let's just throw that out there. As far as the chip world goes, Frito-Lays are pretty ballin'. But he's just standing there with his gloves on, and he's been shopping, his buggy's full, and he's eating his Frito-Lays with his gloves on, right? That's the kind of stupid shit that we're seeing when people don't understand how to actually use this stuff. I hate to throw out the phrase, but more harm than good comes to mind. Again, if people thinking that, these are magic germ killers that I wear on my hands, I don't know. I'm not one to just chalk things up to stupid. I think it's more of not understanding, right, how this stuff actually works. But we're seeing tons and tons and tons of that stuff. And as funny as it is, it's really scary at the same time, knowing that people they just don't understand that, right? All the terms that I hate to use come to mind, and I have to really catch myself and kind of check my bias a little bit, because I want to say common sense and stupid and dumbass is kind of what I want to say in a lot of this situations, but I have to understand that perspective is very biased, and they're probably not, right? They're probably relatively smart, sane people that just don't understand, right? And I keep sharing that if you or a loved one need any input on anything that has to do with PPE, I am a safety professional by trade. I will help you any way that I can. I will help guide you any way that I can. My significant other, he is a nurse. He can guide you in and around some of that general PPE stuff. I'm sure he'll be happy to help you any way that he can. I know there's tons of other safety professionals out there and folks out there. Again, I'm a recovering safety professional. But that's probably the one you want, if I do say so myself, because I'm not going to bullshit you, right, and tell you that, if you just use them harder, and another rant we can get into. But there's lots of folks out there. There's lots of folks out there that are in and around either recovering safety professionals or safety professionals, not picking on anybody, not dropping any names at least. There's healthcare providers out there that I'm sure will, including the one that's right across the room from me here now. There's those folks that will gladly help point you in the right direction, help you understand if you have any questions about how to use this stuff. Right, you just have to ask, and I'll offer that up right now. Right, I've continued to offer that up. If you want to understand respiratory protection, if you want to understand general PPE stuff, if you want to understand how to protect yourself in just some of these situations, I'm more than happy and I am available. You can text that number right there anytime, even when we are not on the air, 480-877-0155. I love having those interactions with you. I love helping you, and that's some of that helping, not hiding stuff that I like talking about a bunch, is that. I just want to help any way that I can, and that's an easy way for me to help while staying distanced and away from you. So I don't have to deal with all the crap that you've shoved in your mouth while touching your gloves and rubbing your eyes and, all that kind of stuff, and wearing your wet socks around your face thinking that it's going to protect you. I could just tell you after the fact that you need to stop and maybe point you in the right direction of some better practices. Right, maybe some better practices might be in store for you. Again, give us a call, 480-877-0155. That's an easy way to text us. You can call us at 480-712-5219. I'm always interested in how things are looking for you. I was sharing with you, and I don't know if it's still there. There it is. Look at that. Look at that beautiful, beautiful downtown Phoenix. You're getting the sun reflecting there off the buildings. If you've not seen an Arizona sunset, you got to get out here and see it. I can't even describe it to you. I've never seen one as pretty as kind of the Southwest. I just haven't. There's no such thing as a prettier sunset. I'm trying to find an angle for you that actually shows it, but there's none, right? Of course not. This is your government in action right here. From the live Phoenix City cams. Of course, why would we want to show a sunset? That seems dumb. It's way too nice. It's way too nice. But there you go. There's downtown Phoenix. Construction continues. I will say that. That is one thing that has continued on and on and on in the greater Phoenix area is construction. It continues to go. We keep seeing floor after floor. I think when I first started sharing some of this stream or sharing these videos in the stream, a lot of this was probably 3 or 4 floors lower than this, maybe even more. I don't even know if this building was there at the time. I have to go back and look. It'd be interesting to see if we capture this angle to see what it actually looks like. Let's jump over to Flagstaff and see what's going on in Flagstaff, Arizona. I just like looking at these things. I don't know if you enjoy it or not. I just enjoy looking at Flagstaff. Look, there's some snow on the peaks. Those are the San Francisco peaks. I think that's Humphreys Peak that you're staring at right there, that very tall, the tallest peak there. If I'm not mistaken, it comes in at about 13,500 feet. Is about what we're looking at there. Flagstaff is around 7,000, 7,500. What you're looking at here. Beautiful, beautiful, amazing little town. So if you ever want to go visit part of Arizona that is not saguaro cactuses and everything else, that's a good, easy way to do it. Flagstaff is amazing. Northern Arizona is amazing, and I would encourage you to go hang out in Northern Arizona. If you're going to come to Phoenix, and obviously this is all later. Please don't do this right now. But later on, and if you're going to come through Phoenix, come hang out with us. I'm putting that open call out there. If you're an interesting person or a safety professional or somebody that we would kind of jive with, I guess, come and hang out with us when all this clears up. We want to have you in the studio. We want to talk to you. We want to enjoy your company. We want to sit here in the Hop Nerd Studios with you and drink Starbucks cold brew and laugh about how well the apocalypse went. That's what we'll do. We'll reminisce about the apocalypse. We'll shoot the shit. We'll talk about all kinds of fun stuff. And we'll just enjoy ourselves once all this blows over. I'm looking through the comments. I'm looking through the emails. I'm looking through all of that stuff. Again, we've got that handy-dandy phone number, both of those phone numbers that are available. And I will throw this out to you now. Always remember that both of these numbers are available at any time. Even if you're watching this after the fact, you can jump on here and you can give us a text. I mentioned about helping you. If you need help, if you need guidance on any of this kind of safety-related stuff, that's a gimme, right? If you need guidance on any of this human organizational performance stuff, whether for yourself, your organization, as you're dealing with this crap. Look, I'm dealing with this crap too, just like most of you are out there. And if you need to know, I'm glad to share with you what's going on in my world and how we're responding and how we're adapting to a lot of these crazy situations. I'm glad to share with you any of that. You can always text us, 480-877-0155. You can text us again, even if you're watching this and we're not live. It's really easy. Get a hold of us. Leave some comments. Leave something to talk about. Leave an article. Throw out your rant, or whatever, and we'll talk about it. We'll enjoy it. You can always call us at 480-712-5219. You can actually call either or when we're offline, but when we're not live. If you call this text number when we're live, I'm probably just, I don't know. I guess I can answer it. I'm just gonna have to sit here and hold it up to the mic, and we'll go old school. And I'm down with that. We can make that happen too. I'm cool with that. We'll definitely have fun with it. But either way, give us a call. Right there's those numbers. You know how to get a hold of us. Things are going good. So we had a victory the other day, and I have to say that it was nice. I told you we went to a Walmart. I don't know if I told you this or not yet. I might have told you the other day, but I'm going to tell you again because it's super exciting. But we went to Walmart, and we got the stuff we needed. And we went through the fitness aisle. Now, I'm not going to sit here and brag about Walmart fitness equipment by any stretch of the imagination. It is crap 99% of the time, let's just say that. But beggars can't be choosers, right? We're looking. We're trying to get our hands on some other stuff. We have now decided that we are definitely going to turn a portion of our garage into a decent home gym with squat rack, bench, all that kind of stuff. You know, we're gonna deck it out, but that's kind of impossible right now until stuff starts to happen. But we did find enough to kind of start, right? So if you've perused the aisles of Walmart, and if you've been in the market for any type of dumbbells or any kind of crap like that, you probably noticed that you can't find them anywhere. They're just completely not available. I've been browsing. A lot of the Dick's Sporting Goods here have been doing contactless curbside pickup. And over the past 2 weeks, they went from having 2 squat racks to none, right? From having some stuff to none. I'm sure they don't keep a lot of this stuff in massive quantities. Anyways, but we scored. We found one of those little cheap, like put together, like slide the plates on thing. And then we found one 35-pound dumbbell. We already had some like jump ropes, and we've got like a little like assault bike type thing. We've got a pull-up rack in the garage. We've got a couple little things like that. And we picked up some bands and got like hip circles and just kind of basic stuff. And it's really good. We've had that for a few days now. We're able to get a little active. Me and Avery jumped down there for a little bit too, and we enjoyed it. We had fun. We had a blast. Avery got a little active, kind of same thing. And it was good. So it was nice to move a little bit. It was nice to do that. I've shared with you that we've been doing the bicycle stuff. We went for a long bike ride last night, which is kind of cool. But it's nice to actually be picking up some heavy shit again. And it's not super heavy, but it's something, right? So there's a really cool if any of you are kind of around this stuff, you probably follow along with Ryan Fisher a little bit, or you've seen him or you heard of him or something like that. He has a great, or Chalk CrossFit, and I'm not a CrossFit person, I'm a power lifter. I tell you that all the time. I not pretend to be into CrossFit at all. But he has some phenomenal dumbbell kind of stuff, basically with a lot of programmed things that are just designed for having a pair of dumbbells and a jump rope. So you can do quite a bit of stuff. It's nice to, I've never had to think about things like that in the past, right? You give me a barbell, you give me lots of plates, you give me a squat rack, you give me a decent competition bench, and I don't really need a lot else, right? There's not a lot else I need, but I don't have any of that crap right now. So this is nice. I guess that's what I'm saying. I'm bragging a little bit. I'm happy. I'm happy that we're able to get our hands on some of that stuff. And if you do have a set of dumbbells and you do want something challenging, that is a pretty cool program. We got that. I got that just the other day. It's like it's not very much. It's an ebook. It's not very much though. Totally worth the purchase. I'll tell you. It's got 30 workouts in it plus a bunch of bonus workouts, and they're very simple and short and will kick your butt. I mean, that's one thing I will say about them. They will absolutely kick your butt. So. Thought that was cool. Just wanted to share that with you. Able to get a little active, which is nice. And I think that's important in the time that we're in right now. There's a lot of crap that's going on. It's easy to get squirreled away and just sit on the couch and Netflix it up. I'll tell you, that's what we've been guilty of, is just kind of picking up food and sitting on the couch, and then repeat. Pick up food and sit on the couch. And we're not designed for that. I think we all know we're not designed for that. So let's jump into some famous birthdays today. Paul Rudd turns 51. Paul Rudd is absolutely hilarious, and fight me if you don't think so, but he is absolutely hilarious. See if we spot anybody else that's interesting. There's so many names on here of these folks and they rank them by popularity. I don't know the majority of these people. Paul Rudd is like number 12, and the first people it must be like YouTubers. It must be social media folks that I really don't care about, to be honest with you. I just don't really care. Zach Braff turned 45, and he's number 30 on the list, and not a single person above him is someone that's other than a social media influencer, other than Paul Rudd. If that tells you anything about this whole thing. Yeah, nothing. Merle Haggard. Merle Haggard comes in at number 42, R.I.P. Merle. Mama tried, right? Merle Haggard is awesome. How could you not love Merle Haggard? Yeah, then that's it. That's really about it. We can jump over to, let's see if we can get into on this day in history. The U.S. officially enters World War I on this day, 2 days after the U.S. Senate voted 82-6 to declare war against Germany. The U.S. House of Representatives endorses the declaration by a vote of 373 to 50, and America formally enters World War I. How cool was it when we used to actually follow the Constitution? Just throw that out there. When we would actually, when our presidents couldn't just declare wars on a whim, when we actually followed the way that things are supposed to happen. It was kind of cool, wasn't it? When Congress and stuff actually had to draw up letters, the government was intended to work. But that's a conversation for another day and maybe another live stream. Let's see what else happens out here on this day in history. I didn't jump into on this day in history the other day. What was it, yesterday? I think it was yesterday. What is today? Today's the 6th, right? Yeah, so yesterday was the 5th. Near and dear to me, but yesterday was, I don't remember what the anniversary was, but Kurt Cobain died by suicide yesterday on this day in history in 1994. So for those grunge fans, and I am one of those grunge fans, grunge is kind of, that's my thing. One of my things, but a big part of my life is Nirvana, Alice in Chains, all those kind of folks. That's not a rough day for grunge fans. Let's put it that way. But let me find out what's going on more on this day in history. As I fight with my phone, I'm always fighting with technology. But let's see, anything cool? On this day in 1941, Germany invades Yugoslavia and Greece. This is during World War II, obviously. Robert Peary almost reaches the North Pole in 1909. In 1830, the Mormon Church is established on this day. 1896, the first modern Olympic Games on this day. In 1841, John Tyler is inaugurated as the 10th president. In 1832, the Black Hawk War begins. Writer Oscar Wilde is arrested in England in 1895. In 1968, 2001, A Space Odyssey is released in theaters. In 1970, Sam Shepard, the inspiration for The Fugitive, dies. As far as the Civil War goes, in 1862, the Battle of Shiloh begins. So a lot of kind of interesting kind of stuff happening out there in the world on this day in history. So kind of cool stuff. We looked at the famous birthdays. There wasn't a lot of cool stuff there except for Merle Haggard, R.I.P., and Paul Rudd, which both kind of super cool. And then everything else was just a bunch of 14-year-old influencers, it looks like, that are kind of super famous, more famous than Merle Haggard nowadays, I guess. Not in my heart, Merle. Not in my heart. Let's jump over and see what's going on in the news. Today's coronavirus update. Let's see what's happening over here. We seen earlier, I was reading earlier, and I didn't look into it too much more than just seeing it. is that UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson, it was transferred to the ICU. We knew that he was in isolation after he had basically had symptoms, I believe, and then he tested positive for coronavirus, and he has since been transferred to the ICU. From what I had read earlier, I haven't updated this, so I don't know if things might have changed, but he was still in charge of the government at the time. I'm assuming that he still is. Yeah, definitely keep that gentleman in your thoughts and your prayers. That's huge, right? That's massive for the UK. New York crisis. Here's what we learned today. There was a spark of hope today in hard-hit Empire State as the number of fatalities appeared to level off. Governor Andrew Cuomo said that didn't mean it was time to ease restrictions and doubled fines for violators, as he announced the shutdown would last at least until April 29th. And there we go into kind of more of that conversation that we've been having for quite a while around what's right, what's wrong, how does this stuff actually work. There's a lot of really funny stuff going on out there, very Ron Swanson-ish. With some of this, I'd seen somebody, basically my Facebook feed had shared a meme, like a joke letter, right, where it was blah 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 blah, take this shit back to Germany. It's basically kind of what it went on to say. It was directed at the Tennessee state government, is where it was directed, and I kind of like it. It reminded me of that. I should have saved it. I should have pulled it up. It'd have been great if I did, but I'm too dumb for that. Or busy, dumb or busy or both, probably something like that. But it always reminds me of that scene from Parks and Rec when I was reading it, where basically they're asking Ron for a permit. He's doing something in a park, and he gives him a piece of paper, and it said, "This is my permit," or something. It's like, none of your damn business. It's basically what it said. And I really thought the letter was hilarious. If I find it, I'll share it. I thought it was good. I thought it was very fitting with where we're at right now. Again, I think it's kind of, I don't know. We're in economic peril, so we're going to fine people if they don't listen to us. Again, seems stupid. I'm not ever going to argue that government's smart. They don't seem to make smart decisions ever. But it kind of goes along the same logic of, if you don't abide by social distancing and self-isolation, then we're going to arrest you and force you to not be distanced and isolated by locking you in a pen with 20 other people. Or 100, just according to which state you're in jail. Arizona is known for a little bit of overpopulation. There's some wonderful news articles out there about some of our prison systems if you want to dive down that rabbit hole. But again, interesting take. That's my stance. I think it's kind of not smart. That doesn't seem like a great way to enforce things. Again, we're still dealing with behavior, right? The behavior is going to manifest from somewhere, and I don't think beating people, fining people, or even locking them away is really going to change that behavior, right? You've got to change where it's coming from, right? You have to figure out where the behavior is coming from. You got to understand why. And again, a lot of it's going to be dealing with some of our human nature. But I think that even goes into where we're seeing Arizona being a little more, if not a lot more, abiding with some of this stuff, right? We haven't shut down the golf courses. We haven't shut down the parks. We haven't shut down the trails. The governor continues to tell folks to get out and go be active and get outside your house for a little bit, get a little bit of sunshine. Stay the heck away from each other while you're doing it, right? But that's encouraged still. I drive by the Phoenix Country Club regularly. It's right around the corner from the house. And there's still folks there. They're still out there playing golf. They're good distance apart, but they're out there playing golf, right? If you want folks to really follow this stuff, you can't just strip away all things that make them human and just expect them to just listen to you and then beat them when they don't, because they're still not going to listen to you. They're going to get on here and rant like this and say, "You're stupid, up yours, I do what I want." Right? That's basically what they're going to say. So if you want to change that behavior, dig into the context, dig into the setting of the behavior. It's no different than the stuff that we get on here and preach about and talk about and rant about from our organizations. It's absolutely no different. So just check that out. I think that's one thing. I'm sorry, I got a little distracted. I had to jump on here and take a look at some of the comments and some of the text messages we're getting there. But yeah, I think some folks feel the same. I think that's one thing that we're seeing. But yeah, you can't beat your way into people complying with this stuff. You can't fine your way into people complying with this stuff. again, I think that's one reason why Arizona's doing so well with it. I really think so. I mean, it's that you can't say do it or else, because you're going to get jackasses like me that say, well, F you, show me the or else, bring it on, right? That's what you're going to get. And that's the majority of folks, I think, right? That's a good sizable chunk of folks. For me, it's not too bad. Like I said, we're not locked down. When we go out of the house, right, we're not, the whole executive order that came out in Arizona went on to say that, yeah, if you're not essential, you shouldn't be out, blah, 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 blah. But no law officer, no agent of the state in the great state of Arizona has the right to stop and ask you. None of them have the right to demand where you're going, or you don't have to tell them. Basically, you don't have to justify any of that stuff. This is just what we want you to do. That seems to be a pretty good approach, because it seems to be working for us. Not shutting down all of our activities seems to be working for us, because folks aren't mad. They're not as bad. I can still hop on the bicycle. We can still get on the bicycles and go out of the house and go cruise around the block and spend a couple hours outside. That's what we're going to do tonight. And we're not going to get chased down by the cops like what you're seeing in a lot of the states in the Southeast. Even my home state. You're seeing quite a bit of that. I've heard a lot of stories of that, of folks getting stopped, and there's road checks. There's literally road checks. This is just, again, sorry. I'm sorry, but I'm just having flashbacks to these like kind of Nazi Germany war movies, right? With like the big SS helmets and like the trench coats, right, and like the little rail guns and like the little skull SS pendants on the heart on the helmets, standing outside with like the barrels, and like the barbed wire and like a drum with like some fire in it or something. Just close your eyes and imagine that setting, right? And then as you pull up, it's like, we're going to lock you in jail. So, again, seems kind of dumb. Seems like there's better ways to approach that stuff other than beating people into submission. Again, back to what we've been talking about forever, what we've been talking about on the podcast for forever. Beating people's not going to make them listen to you anymore than what they already do. It just doesn't work that well. It's just going to make them really angry with you. Whether that's an organization or the government, it's just going to make people not believe you and not trust you and not like you very much. You're not going to get them to comply. They're just not, right? And anybody that's going to argue kind of this bootlicking kind of state stuff, go look at the recidivism rate of any crime in any state in the United States and tell me that it works, because it doesn't. So let's jump back into the news before I get in too much more trouble. Again, that's all ranting against Andrew Cuomo, basically saying that they're going to continue to double fines for violators in New York City. Airlines have halted nearly all travel to and from the hard-hit New York City area. Things could get so bad in the nation's largest hotspot that lawmakers suggest that the Big Apple may have a temporary bury victims in city parks. I don't buy that. I'm sorry. I just don't. I don't buy that at this point yet. It seems like a lot of stuff that, I think that the media gets a hold of stuff and they like to sensationalize it. I think we all recognize that. We all know that. We probably all see that quite a bit. That's probably buried and squirreled away in a plan somewhere. Right? Let's just be honest. I promise you that the city of Phoenix has a plan somewhere for mass casualty events in which you can't deal with the bodies. We live in the desert, right? It gets hot. There's your fun midnight Google tonight. Look up 115-degree weather dead body. There you go. Go look at that. But I promise you, Phoenix government, city government, state government here in Arizona probably has a contingency plan for, okay, we got a bunch of dead people and we don't know what to do with them. Right? And this doesn't mean it's anything coronavirus related. This is probably a plan that the city's had forever. And again, when things hit here in the next couple of weeks, a lot harder than what they have been, the media's going to go, oh, they've got a plan to be able to ditch bodies in the canal, right? Or bury them in Margaret Hens Park over here, because they probably do have that plan written out somewhere for mass casualty events. Of course they do. You hope they do at least, right? But now we're going to go, it's corona. It's coronavirus. That's the only reason why they're going to talk about burying dead people in the park. Could you imagine? And no, it's not, right? You hope and pray that your governments, your city, local, state, that they are thinking these things through, right? That they are planning for the bad stuff to happen, right? Most organizations plan for this stuff. Maybe we're not talking about burying people in parks. Hopefully not. Hopefully we're not planning on having that kind of issue. But we're talking about dealing with some of this stuff, right? I can tell you in my world, a lot of the world that I grew up in, right, we had plans for all kinds of bad stuff happening, right, just in case. Some of these places were targets, right? Deal with a mass casualty event. I can tell you from my years of being around around emergency response, around fire, around local stuff like that there are plans for that stuff, right? We plan for that. We plan and train for mass casualty events. We plan and train that maybe you have to put people in mass graves just in case, right? But again, the media gets a hold of this stuff and they go, oh, it's Corona. They wrote this plan to bury people in Central Park, and because they know it scares the shit out of you, and that's what they want, right? That's honestly what they want. It's just like the algorithms on Facebook that draw you towards stuff or populate your feed with stuff that they know makes you angry, right? If you angry react to stuff on Facebook, you're going to see more stuff that will draw you towards angry reacts. Why? Because you interact with it more. You're going to sit and you're going to watch the news more because you interact with it more, because it pisses you off. It makes you angry or it makes you scared, right? So again, I think my whole thing there is you hope to goodness that those plans exist, and you should understand that it's not just because of the stuff that we're dealing with now, right? So yeah, you hope that plan's in place somewhere, so you don't have body piles, and you're not burning folks. Right. Again, if you go back to some of the planning, because it was funny, it was released a while back. It may be a couple of years ago, maybe even, where they're talking about a lot of these. They tested a lot of these plans with the zombie model. Right. It was they basically drilled with this whole thing that it was zombies. Right. We actually had zombies, and people like freaked out thinking, oh, the government's planning for actual zombies. Zombies are coming. But no, it's just a really good drill model. Right. Because it's everyone's infected. It couples that with violence. It couples that with all kinds of other stuff. That zombie drill is the ultimate shit hits the fan kind of drill, right? So they do that, right? So if they're planning to that level, they're thinking about the output side of that, right? So we got a lot of dead people. What do we do with them, right? So it's not just coronavirus. We're just pretending like the media likes to throw that out there and go, oh, God, you should be real scared and you should do nothing but sit on your couch and watch us and be scared shitless. That's all you should do. That's all you should do. Again, dire warnings. That's all I'm seeing. When I browse through this crap, that's all I see is you should be scared, and you should be more scared. Here's something more positive. How about this? A 104-year-old Italian woman has recovered from the bug, making her the world's oldest known survivor. And I want to pull this up. Let me see if I can find her here. 104-year-old Italian woman just kicked the coronavirus's ass. And that's the headline, and that's the headlines that we should be talking about right now, not pretending like the plan that New York has probably had for the past 20 years about burying dead people in Central Park just in case they need to is coronavirus related, so it scares you. So we should be talking about stuff that is more important, and I think it's this. I think it's this 104-year-old Italian woman that just kicked coronavirus ass. I want to browse through this because I'm hoping that it says that she's like drinks every day and smokes every day. It's probably not going to go on to say that, but it'd be hilarious if it did. Two 103-year-old women, one in China and one other in Iran, have also reportedly survived the infections. Earlier this month, I shared this one with you already. Oregon World War II veteran. I laughed about it. I'm not going for his last name. Lapchesses? I don't know. Okay, I haven't listened to this. I'm just reading. I don't watch the news. You just heard why. But he celebrated his 104th birthday after recovering from coronavirus. So I think that's awesome. I think that's absolutely awesome. So the crazy thing about this 104-year-old woman that recovered from the coronavirus, as I read this, is this. She also survived the Spanish flu pandemic of 1918. She's now recovered well with one of her 4 sons kind of taking care of her. Doctors think she is the oldest person in the world to recover. Just beating the other guy, right? She just beat the other guy that we were just talking about. And that seems like a pretty cool pretty cool thing to be able to brag about. Let me see if I can pull this up. Hold on just a second. I got to show you. Look at this. How cool is that? Look at that. Look at that. How sweet. That's awesome. That's the kind of stuff that I want to talk about. I'm sick and tired of hearing all the doom and gloom crap that's not really doom and gloom. Let's talk 5%. Go Google stuff. Go read stuff for yourself. I want to talk about the positive stuff more. Sorry. CNN can suck it. Fox News can suck it. MSNBC can suck it. The New York Post can suck it. Sorry. I'm tired of the doom and gloom hysterical crap that they throw out there. All of them. I'm just tired of it. I would rather look at stuff and actually get a real story rather than every 5 seconds, news flash, news break, breaking. Can you believe it? Miley Cyrus, right? It's always something like that. And I'm tired of it. I'd rather just read the news. I'd rather not, honestly, but I do it for you so you can get to hear me rant. Because the majority of it is this kind of crap, right? And not this. This is the good kind of crap. This is the good kind of stuff I want to read. But let's jump back in. Let's see what's going on out there. Again, diving farther into some of the coronavirus stuff. We'd seen earlier, I heard this earlier, that basically a tiger in the Bronx Zoo had also contracted COVID-19, and they believe that they contracted it from one of the zookeepers there that had been exhibiting symptoms. So that's a pretty interesting development. Give it a few jumps, and we're going to have zombies. Who's excited? I am. We've got plenty of... we're prepared. Let me just say that. We're prepared for the zombie apocalypse. We're ready. We're ready just in case. But yeah, interesting to see that jump. I haven't really read much into that, so I'm not going to pretend like I know what's going on there. But let's see. We mentioned the zookeeper part. I heard that. It's the first time to our knowledge that a wild animal has gotten sick from COVID-19 from a person, said the zoo's chief veterinarian. It's the only thing that makes sense. Cats, both domestic and wild, are susceptible to feline coronavirus. The report said, but scientists have been unaware that they could contract the COVID strain from humans. So pretty interesting development, something to watch, something to think about as things continue to progress. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe that's how we get tiger zombies. I don't know. That sounds like a lot scarier situation. I didn't sign up for tiger zombies. I'm cool with people zombies, not tiger zombies. Sad stuff as we continue to follow this. I've continued to follow this. The freaking Kennedy curse, man. Right? I was sharing with you that story the other day. Maeve Kennedy Townsend McKean, I guess that's the full name. I don't know. But her body was found the other day. Her son is still missing. They basically hopped in a canoe, went out in a canoe to try to fetch a ball, I believe is what it was, if I remember the article correctly, and just went missing in the Chesapeake Bay. The canoe apparently capsized. She was McKean, the daughter of former Maryland Lieutenant Governor Kathleen Kennedy Townsend and granddaughter of Robert F. Kennedy, went missing late Thursday afternoon along with her son, 8 years old. Sad. Gideon, her son is Gideon. The pair went out into the waters near the family's home in Shadyside, Maryland, about 25 miles south of Annapolis. A preliminary investigation found that McKean and her son, who may have been paddling in the canoe, put into the bay to retrieve a ball, but were unable to paddle back to shore, as we had mentioned the other day. The Maryland Natural Resources Police said that her body was found in 25 feet of water and about 2.5 miles south of her mother's residence, where the canoe was launched. Authorities used aviation and underwater imaging sonar technology to find her body. Authorities said they'll resume the search for Gideon on Tuesday. So that is just sad stuff. Her husband went on here to write just a long kind of tribute to her life in a Facebook post, and just sad. I mean, oh man, that's it. Like what I said, this freaking Kennedy curse, this tragedy just follows that family around. That's just insane. We'll continue to look here just a little bit. California coronavirus peak expected in May, so let's see how that goes. What else is going on here? As school moves to online, many students stay logged out. So what's going on here? As school moves online, many students stay logged out. Teachers at some schools across the country report that less than half of their students are participating in online learning. Yeah, of course not, right? I mean, of course, there's a lot of, it's going to take a while, and especially with that, kids are social creatures. I mean, let's just be honest with that. I don't know how well that's going to ever work, moving that to online. You got some that could do it, and I heard some of that input from folks, and I thought about it a little bit myself. You know, it's well, I don't know. Could you do it online? I know a lot of folks that could probably do it online better, but wouldn't want to. Right? It's the social aspect. It's the going to school, it's hanging out with your friends, it's getting in trouble, right? It's messing with the teachers. It's all that kind of fun stuff that you can think back to your school days. But it's that. Who wants to go to high school online? Who wants to go to elementary school online? Who wants to go to middle school online? You don't. And you might think you do. And you might do it for a little bit and you're going to go, let me go back to school now. Let me get into trouble. Right? You're going to be so done. It's going to be so done with that after a while. We're social creatures, right? Again, it's some of the stuff, it's a lot of the stuff I've been ranting about. We still have to be able to connect. We still have to be able to have this conversation. We still have to be able to come together. And this is great, right? We see all the Zoom stuff. We see all the other stuff happening there. There's a lot of other stuff that's going on. There's a lot of ways that people are starting to come together. Like we're finding ways to connect, but it's not the same. Look, I love these live streams. I love having folks call in. I love doing interviews, and even non-coronavirus times, even non-COVID-19 apocalypse times, right? I'm doing a lot of stuff over Zoom-ish things, right? Zoom, Skype, blah, 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 right? But how much more fun is it? It is. You got to think about that, right? How much more of a connection, how much greater is it when you actually get to have an interview sitting across the table from somebody? How much better is that when you get to have that conversation in person with folks? It's just different, right? It's just different because you can actually connect with people. You can actually have a conversation. It just makes it that much better because you're close to people. You're close to people, right? You're close to people. It makes a difference. So I don't know how much longer that can go on. I don't see that continuing to work extremely well with school or other things, at least not in the long term. We're social animals. We need that connection, and you just can't get it for an extended period of time, at least, just through this kind of stuff. You got to have something else going on. So hopefully those kids that are doing this online stuff, hopefully they're not stuck doing it for very long. Hopefully they get to go back to some sense of normalcy pretty soon. At least you hope that they get to, because again, there's only so long that you can only do that for so long before you start to pull your hair out, right? Let's jump over and see what traffic looks like. I keep showing you this just because I think it's funny, right? It's hilarious. It's hilarious because it's just it's crazy to me because it's all green, right? It's never all green. It's never all green. Anytime, go look at Los Angeles, right? It's ridiculous to me that the traffic map is saying green. And Phoenix doesn't have terrible traffic. So I will say that right now. I brag about how awesome Phoenix traffic is. There she is. Look at that. That's, where is that? Is that 919 northbound? Yeah, there you go. That's looking down through there. So nothing too crazy. Here you go. I cannot see what that one is. US 93 southbound. Just pulling up random cameras here. Loop 101 southbound. Look how empty all this stuff is. Empty, empty, empty. And I think that's cool. I like it. I think it's neat. It's cool that all that stuff is pretty empty right now. But you just don't see this. And I just keep bragging on Arizona. We're doing a pretty good job, and we're not, compared to other models of enforcement of this stuff, it's not heavy-handed, right? It's not thou shalt or else like you see in my home state of Virginia, right? And you see in some other states where we're going, you're going to do this. You're going to be distanced or we're going to force you to live in a jail cell. Not distanced. right? It seems like it is so stupid as backwards. I don't know. I'm just continuing to rant about it because it just seems kind of sort of dumb to me. But yeah, there you go. It looks pretty good here. Things aren't too wild, aren't too crazy. I don't know if I can. I was going to show you. Over here, but they're not there anymore. Look at that. They're laying over in the floor. Now the camera won't show them in the floor. But I have them set up to show you on this cool couch. We're getting that geared up to do some podcasted from there too, so we can get a bunch of folks on here all at once, which will be a lot of fun. So back to that kind of thing. That's what I was talking about. We're wanting to basically get a bunch of folks here, and we can't do that right now, right? That's why this whole thing exists, is because I really like the idea of having conversations here, having folks come in and hang out with us, sharing some cold brew coffee. And that's really the way we're building this thing out. So I'm excited. I'm excited for things to get back to normal. I threw that offer out there at the beginning. If you know somebody that should be here, or you know somebody that lives in the Phoenix area, or if you're coming out to the Phoenix area, because I know most of you have business here at some point, right? This is level. Phoenix is a massive hub, right? It's Phoenix and Charlotte and a couple other spots. You're always probably doing business here. If you're doing anything more than just regional stuff, when you're in town, come hang out with us. Once this thing gets to where it's safe for us to do that, let's do that. I think it'll be fun. I want to have you across the table here. If you know of anybody out there that's just interesting folks, right? They don't have to be safety folks. Doesn't have to be, right? I don't put those limitations on us. If they could be anybody, if they're interesting, I want to have a conversation. Maybe we'll do that segment and just call it Sam Talks to Interesting Folks. I like that idea. That might be something we do in our live streams, is Sam Talks to Interesting People, period. And we'll just keep doing that. So again, if you know of anybody, point them in my direction. I'd love to have them on. Maybe even do a call-on guest at some point during one of our live streams. I haven't scheduled any of those. I just kind of let it happen more naturally, more organically. And as we've said, we've got those numbers there. You can always call us, 480-712-5219. You can use that number anytime that you want to. You can always call us. That's a really easy way to get a hold of us. You can also text us, right? So here's our text number, 480-877-0155. Again, a really easy way to get a hold of us, even when we're not live, right? So even when we're not live, those numbers just don't work. So you can get a hold of us, you can talk to us, you can send us stuff that you want to talk about on the next podcast or on the next show, or if you know those folks that you want us to have on. There you go. There's an easy way to map this thing up. Domestic abuse has arisen worldwide since coronavirus. Yeah, of course. We talked about that the other day, right? People are locked up. They're all squirreled away in their homes. Everyone's locked up in their houses. And yeah, there you go. It's that's what's happening. That's totally what's happening right now. I'm trying to get some other stuff to open up here. Sorry. Like I said, I don't plan this stuff. I just jump on and start rambling and having a conversation. Let's see. My phone doesn't recognize my face when I have a microphone in front. For some reason, it doesn't recognize this thing, right? Who knows? But yeah, so that's interesting. That's really interesting to see. I'm not really looking at the article. What are your thoughts? I heard that a while back. I heard that from several different sources as they were kind of talking about, unintended consequences of this whole thing. I think there's a lot to come. I really think there is. I think there's a lot coming that we didn't think about as we started down this path. Domestic violence increases are probably one of those things. I think that's one of the big ones. Bear with me just a second. I'm trying to get this thing to work too. But yeah, I think that's one of them. I think there's many other things, right? What effect does it have on the human psyche to be locked in their house, especially in these states that I was just ranting about, where you are locked in and you're punished if you leave, so you can't leave? What does that do to people in the long term? What is it going to do to the economy in the long term? I don't know. I think that's going to be an interesting question. And unfortunately, we really don't know where it's going to go. So I would love to hear your thoughts. 480-877-0155. How are you seeing this negatively or positively impacting your life, I guess? For some folks, for my more introverted fam out there, I hear a lot of folks saying, yeah, you know what? It should be a lot more, but it's not. It's not really that different. It's kind of good. It's kind of good. So who knows? Who knows? I think it'll be interesting to see what happens though. Sorry. I'm trying to get logged into some other stuff here, and for some reason, I continue to rant about technology. I shouldn't probably rant too much because we have this amazing stuff that just we have these massive computers that fit in our pockets, right? Which I think is pretty wild. But what would be the point if we can't complain about them? Right? We have to complain about them. But yeah, I'm really interested in seeing what happens in the long run. Really, with what happens in and around the unintended consequences of this stuff. I don't know. I would love to hear your thoughts on it. 480-877-0155. You can also give us a call. Here's the call me stuff right there, 480-712-5219. We're getting ready to wrap this thing up here in just a second. I'm trying to get some stuff reset so I can actually get into some of my other accounts so I can actually see your comments. That's what I'm doing here. It's not working too well to talk and try to log into accounts at the same time, but I'm trying, and we'll see, especially when I'm having to reset passwords because I'm terrible at remembering passwords. How are you with that kind of stuff? I know that I'm terrible at it. I'm sitting here trying to come up with a new password live and on the air. I think I finally just got in here, so let's see if that works. I've been struggling in getting some of the comments to come through. If anybody has any really good stuff on kind of layering in comments and all that kind of stuff, especially into OBS, my nerd fam out there will know what I'm talking about. Let me know. I would be really interested because I'm not good at it. It's not working too well for me. Here we go. I think we're almost there. We're almost home free. This is the most exciting part of the show. Let's see. Did it work? I think I'm in. Look at that. I made it in. So maybe I can start to see some of your other comments. So that's some of what I'm going for. Okay, so we're back. I'm not so disheveled now. I actually have some ability to actually look at stuff now. So let's say that I can actually see some of your comments now. I can actually follow some of them. I got some of them here, some of them there. We'll get this thing figured out one of these. I keep referring to it as this one-man band type of thing, but that's kind of sort of exactly what it is. It is a one-man band thing. I'm doing stuff here. I'm kind of, you don't see what's going on with my feet. There's an entire mixer that's not, there's an entire stream deck below the table. The right toes operate the stream deck. The left toes operate the mixing board. That's how you get this beautiful streamless package. But people are going to be trying to browse under the table now. But that's totally not what happens. But that's what it feels like some days. But I like it. I love it. I got to have more of it. That's why I keep doing it. It's a blast. So I'm getting ready to finish up. I'm not seeing anything else wild and crazy in the news that I want to really, really talk about. Not seeing anything too crazy. So I think I'm going to finish up. We've been doing this thing every single day for a while, and I'm having a blast. I hope you're enjoying it too. Thank you so much for all the comments, all the emails, all the outreach that I get from you guys. It's awesome, right? It's awesome. Before I finish up with that, I'm always going to say thank you. Always remember the message that we're talking about right now. It's a time to be prepared, not panicked. You can go back and listen to the last few live streams if you want to know any more about that. A good way to do that, right? Buy what you need, not too much. Buy just a little extra, you're fine, right? We keep hearing the same thing here. Buy enough for your week. Don't buy enough for a freaking year. Don't be that asshole. And it's time for helping, not hiding. So my offer stands. You want to understand how to use respirators? Let me know. Text me. That number's there, right? You want to understand why? You want to understand some basics around some general BSI precautions on how to use gloves, how to use masks, how to use that crap? Let me know. That number's there. I'm happy to help you. Don't be the idiot. Don't be the jackwagon that's standing inside of Walmart eating your Fritos with your gloved hand on after you spent the whole freaking day shopping. Don't be that person. There's a lot of folks out there that are more than willing to help you. I can tell you that I can think of a whole LinkedIn fam of folks that I hang out with on LinkedIn, at least virtually, that would be more than happy to point you in the right direction. Excuse me. I won't name names. I won't commit them to anything that they might not want to be committed to. But I will tell you, there are a bunch of folks out there that will they're more than happy to help you with that stuff. So don't be those idiots, right? Ask for help. Let us help. That's how I'm helping, right? Call your family, call your friends, call your loved ones, call all those folks that you even if you kind of just like them, right? Maybe even if you dislike them, right? Something about keep your enemies closer. Call and ask them what they need. If they have everything they need, make sure they're okay, right? That's a way of helping, right? Continue to do that. Continue to reach out. Continue to ask folks how you can help. That's a big part of this whole thing. I can't say that enough. I really can't say that enough, that we need to continue to be prepared and not panicked. We need to continue to help and not hide. That's a huge part of this, is helping and not hiding. I won't get back into my rant, but basically no one's coming to save you, right? No one's coming to save you. The way you save you, or the way we save people, is by coming together at the local level, at the community level, in their small little micro groups of people, and helping each other. That's really how we get through this thing, I think, and minimize our losses, right? Helping each other through this thing. So again, head over to the podcast, check that out. I've got some amazing stuff coming out there too. I'm super excited because I was on the Jay Allen Show a while back, and I think it comes out tomorrow, maybe. I think it's tomorrow. I think that's right, tomorrow. So keep an eye on that. If you don't listen to the Jay Allen Show, you should, right? If you don't listen to all the other Safety FM hosts, you should, because I got to say, I've got some really, really awesome peers out there. That's when it comes to safety stuff, I don't get much off of our network, right? I think Dr. J has done an amazing job of curating some awesome folks. And I'm not just saying that because I'm one of them, but I'm just saying that I think he's done a phenomenal job getting a bunch of folks together and varying viewpoints, which I think it's just great. It's just great. If you have more than one safety person in the room, you're going to have a disagreement, right? So that's a good thing. I think that's a great thing. And I think he's done an amazing job in curating some amazing folks. So yeah, check out all those folks. Again, look for me coming out over there. I think that's awesome. On the main pod, on my pod, on the Hop Nerd, you can follow this right there. Just look for that logo, search that, you'll find it. It's on everywhere that you listen to podcasts. And if you're watching me here and you're not listening to podcasts, WTF? Like what? It's a podcast. It's the Hop Nerd podcast. Like that's kind of the main thing. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I won't lie. These are fun, right? This is just fun. Look at this. I got lights. I got my collection of oddities. I got the Queen hanging out over here. She's waving sometimes when the lights get enough. She's waving to you. I got the kitty cat giving you the wave, right? I got all this stuff going. I got my Fuggler, right? And when I record the podcast, I sit down here and I record it from here too, right? This is when I interview folks, when folks interview me, this is where I'm hanging out. This is right here, But I like to share this with you. This is just cool. I got my my Tina Minion picture. My New Year's Party in Purgatory for Suicides, in which Liberace makes a guest appearance down from heaven just for the hell of it. If you don't like that painting, or if you don't know that painting, you should go Google that. And of course, Johnny Cash. I just enjoy this, right? I love the pod, and I love this just as much. Sometimes I think just a little bit more though. Is that wrong for me to say? But the pod is amazing. So you should go check out the podcast, because this is a podcast, number one. This goes on the podcast, at least the main episodes do, Wednesdays and Fridays, except for last Wednesdays, because, again, I'm figuring this thing out. And sometimes I forget things, and I forget to record things sometimes, so that happens too. But these make it there too. So check out the podcast. I've got part one of a conversation that I had with Ian Allison and Nate Brayman. It went up today, and it is freaking awesome. I loved that podcast. I mean, come on, really. Nate Brayman, Ian Allison. I've never met Nate in person, right? But and Ian, I know Ian's here local. Me and Ian, good friends. But when I first started interacting on LinkedIn and I started seeing Nate's stuff, and then he started kind of seeing mine, and we started interacting with that, I'm like, okay, Nate just instantly became like, I think we're becoming best friends. I think we're best friends. Right? I've never even met Nate. I think we're best friends, right? So again, it's cool because you get to hear some really some like-minded but very varied opinions from us, right? Ian and I and Nate, we all see things we kind of have a lot of the same hop mentality, but we see things very differently in certain areas. We share a lot of the same principles. We share a lot of the same thoughts on certain things, and then we kind of veer away in certain areas too, which is good, right? So it's a very interesting conversation. We spent like 3 hours. It was like a 3-hour long conversation, which was amazing. So you get part 1 today, and you get part 2, I think, on Friday, and there's a mini on Wednesday, right? And then you'll see some other episodes coming up very, very, very soon, too, with some amazing other folks that, again, I can't wait for you to see some of the stuff we've got. Some of it's still in the works, so I don't want to give up too much, but there's some amazing folks that we're going to have on the podcast in the next month-ish. I'm just excited. I love this. It's so much fun. It's just a blast. It's so much fun for me. I hope you're having as much fun as I am, because I'm having a flippin' hoot. That's the only thing that I can say. A flippin' hoot is the only way that I can describe it. That's like the maximum hoot is a flippin' hoot. So it's amazing. I'm just having so much fun with it. That's all I've got. I've been going for like a long time, kind of rambling and ranting, and the past couple of these have been rants. I'm frustrated. I want to hear from you. I want to understand what's going on with you. What frustrates you? I keep sharing with you what frustrates me. I'm struggling with a lot of the stuff that I'm seeing on the news. I mean, it's out of my control. I'm not stressed about it. I'm not. But it's frustrating, right? It is frustrating to see the way that things are going right now. So I would love to hear from you. Let me know. There you go. 480-877-0155. Call us, 480-712-5219. Get into those numbers even when we're not on here, because we're getting ready to hang up. I'm getting ready to say bye, everybody, bye here in just a second, because I'm done. I want to go home. I want to go ride my bike. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go outside. I'm going to turn on my little flashy strobe lights, right? I'm going to take off down the street, and I'm going to ride my bike. I'm going to go do past couple of days we've been doing like a few miles here. We got Avery with us. So when Avery goes for rides with me, it goes from like 7 or 8 miles, which isn't a bunch on a bike. I get that. We're just going to kind of go out and piddle around and have fun. But then we go from that to like 2. But Avery has so much fun. She has so much fun with it. But again, that's all I've got. I'll be back tomorrow. I don't know what today is. What is today? Monday? I think it's Monday. I'll be back tomorrow. We'll do this thing again. We'll continue to have this conversation, continue to try to bring just the general community together. I love having this conversation. I can't wait to have it in person. That's what I was sitting here thinking about when I was talking about this whole Nate Ian podcast that's up right now, is how cool would that be to have an Ian and a Nate right here, right, having this conversation, drinking some black coffee, maybe some beef jerky, right? Having that conversation in this room together and broadcasting that live to you. How cool would that be? I think that would be awesome. Back to that flippin' hoot being the maximum hoot because it's flippin', right? I think that would be great, right? I just can't think of anything cooler than that as we kind of move out of this wave of the apocalypse. So I'm looking forward to that. That's coming soon. I can't wait. That's all I've got. I'm done. I'm out of here. My air conditioner still doesn't work. There you go. I didn't get to share with you, but I've got a purple mohawk going on right now, so that's hiding in there. I forgot about that. Don't worry, it's not permanent. That's when me and Avery are working from home. There you go. When me and Avery are working from home together, that's what happens. When you have a 5-year-old daughter working with you at home, I'll tell you what happens. This is what happens. Look at that. You get like a purple mohawk. It's just not permanent. Not permanent. I know I'm going to get the DMs. How unprofessional. What kind of safety professional? suck it. That's all I can say. Again, back to we'll have that conversation about not being so starchy another day. That's a whole nother rant. I get a lot of those. It's so much fun. It's so much fun. There's half the reason why I do this. There's half the reason why I do this is because of the turds out there. But we won't have the turd conversation. Let's leave it on a positive note. That's all I tell them. I tell them, bless your heart. That's what I tell them. If you need to know what that means, if you're not a Southerner, you can go look that up on your own. But that's all I've got. I'm done for the day. I'm going to take my coffee and I'm going to leave. I'm going to take this. I want to go hop on a bicycle and I'm going to go spend some time cruising around Phoenix. I'm going to maintain 6 foot away from people. But we're going to go. We're going to take the dog. We're going to have a big-eyed time. It's going to be so much fun. And I will fill you in on how that went tomorrow, I guess. So until next time, make sure you head over to the website, www.thehopnerd.com. You can follow along on all things social media. Remember that you can watch this show at www.thehopnerd.tv. That's a really easy way to watch things too. You can always jump in these handy dandy numbers up here and send us a text. Oh, there you go, this side. Woo, the text. You can call us. There's an easy way to call us, too. Even if you're watching this and we're not live, there you go. Send us some stuff. We'll talk about it. We'll be back here tomorrow, and we'll talk about it. I promise you. Send me funny pictures. That's one thing I really like. Send me wacky news articles. That's one thing I really like. The best thing you do, I want to hear you. I want to hear what you think is horseshit. I want to hear what you think is bullshit. There's two different things. I want to hear what's going on in your neck of the woods. Let me know. There you go, and I'll share it tomorrow when we do this thing once again. So I was hoping to get on earlier, and before I go, I keep tacking stuff on here. I'm sorry. But I was going to get on earlier, and they're continuing to work in our building, so they come in, they're tearing crap apart in the ceiling, they're doing all kinds of stuff. So unfortunately, I couldn't make it earlier. So I'm not sure. Tomorrow will probably be around the same time as today. Let's just say 5-ish, 6-ish, shish, somewhere right around there. So I will see you then. So until next time, thank you for allowing me to continuing to allow me to be your tour guide to the apocalypse. I'm having a blast with it. I've got my official apocalypse tour guide mask that I continue to wear around town these days. I've got my Poke the Dead stick that I carry with me too. It's awesome. Scare the shit out of people in Phoenix. But thank you for allowing me to entrusting me with that responsibility. Thank you for all of your comments, all of your texts, all of that kind of stuff. I can't tell you how awesome it is to get to do this. It's such a pleasure for me just to have the opportunity to do this, right? It's a privilege, and I thank you for that. I thank you for that. Thank you for tuning into the podcast. Thank you for following along there. Continue to listen there. I'm trying to pump out just quality stuff pretty regularly. I've been a little absent from some of the other social media platforms. I just have, right? And I needed a little bit of a break from some of the normal kind of native typed comments kind of stuff that I put out. And I'll tell you what the break was for. It's because I'm getting to stay home and spend time with my family. It's awesome. It's cool. I like it. So I'm doing this. This is how I'm connected with you right now. Some of the other stuff, and I'm not saying it's gone. It's not gone. I sit down kind of thinking about some stuff I wanted to write today and some things I wanted to post. But you'll see some of that happening. Keep a lookout for the videos, right? But again, I'm enjoying spending time with my family. I'm cherishing that right now, and you should be too. You should be too, and I think you are, right? I think that most of you are. We've seen. I think that's not a bad statistic. Podcast listens are down right now. I think it's probably a good thing. It probably is, and that's coming from a podcaster. Because I think that folks are actually spending time with their families. I think it's awesome. It's cool. It's good. So there's a lot of that's happening right now. But make sure you follow along there. Make sure you're listening in. I'm trying to pump out lots of valuable content. Make sure that you follow along on the YouTube channel. That's an easy, super easy way to watch the live streams. I shared a bunch, and I'm continuing to share that we're really thinking hard and working hard on how we put out quality video content and just put out content everywhere. There's several Facebook pages that if you want to follow along with me that you can go follow along with Dad, Daddy, Daughter Media. You can follow along with the Hop Nerd podcast page. You can follow along with the Samuel Goodman page. It's just Sam Goodman. It's another media page there if you just want to go like it. I've got a personal page there too if you want to go follow along on that because I send this thing to all of those. So again, it's a really easy way to watch the live streams as well. So With all that being said, don't forget, give us a call, shoot us a text. There's the numbers right there. I'm done. I'm out of here. Thank you for allowing me to be the tour guide, your tour guide to the apocalypse. I'm signing off. I'm going to say bye, everybody. Bye. Avery's going to come in here. It looks like Jarrell's going to come in here and say bye, everybody. Bye. Everybody say bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
That's it. We're done. Bye, everybody. Bye.